Hello, welcome back teachers. Finalmente riprendiamo con la formazione che è il TIC, il primo appuntamento con la nostra Katie e parleremo di storytelling oggi pomeriggio, di storytelling con un mediatore molto particolare, però non voglio spoilerare altro perché poi ci sarà Katie. Nell'attesa, insomma, no, che entriate tutti e tutte. Vi do alcune informazioni di servizio. Anzi, prima volevo chiedervi, perché sono un po' curiosa, avete già visionato, sono arrivati nella vostra scuola i nostri testi, You and Me Friends, Happy Days? Magari fatemelo sapere nella chat se avete già avuto modo di visionarli, quelle che sono insomma le vostre impressioni o se già appunto lo state utilizzando in questo webinar. Tra l'altro presenteremo anche Happy Days, il materiale insomma è tratto da Happy Days. Per quanto riguarda invece l'informazione di servizio di cui vi parlavo prima, il certificato del corso vi verrà inviato tramite email, o meglio, riceverete un'email in cui dovrete compilare un questionario di gradimento e in seguito alla compilazione di questo questionario di gradimento riceverete appunto l'attestato. Io vi auguro un buon pomeriggio di formazione con noi. It's Friday, quindi happy weekend per quelle come me che sono fortunate che domani non hanno scuola. Nel frattempo, ecco Katie che si avvicina. Io vi saluto e enjoy the webinar. Bye bye.
Hello, hello. Hello, hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hello from me. I'm Caterina, and I'd like to welcome all to this new training webinar organized by Celtic Publishing named Playing with the Stories. I'm very happy to be here, and I'd like to thank you all for participating. I can see some 200 and more people participating, so thank you all for taking your time and joining us. Also, I'd like to thank Celtic Publishing for giving the opportunity to get together and share our ideas and training and activities we can do with our kids in our classrooms. So let me get started by asking you this question. Where are you at the moment? Where are you at the moment? Are you in South Italy? Are you in North Italy? Are you somewhere between? Let me know, please type in the chat box, where are you at the moment? I'm here in Monte San Vito at the home of Celtic Publishing, if I may say so. It's near Ancona, Regione di Marche. Where are you joining us from? I'm curious to know about your places. Okay, Milan, hello Patrizia, North Italy. Oh, so many messages coming from Marche. Thank you. North Italy. Elena is North Italy again. Aurora, hello from Rome. Okay, Milan. Okay, Palermo, Verona. Oh my God, there's so many messages coming from. Thank you again. I really appreciate it. I'm really happy to share with you. Okay, my next question. I'd like to know, how long have you been teaching English? Can you please type in the chat? Have you been teaching for a long, how many years? Are you new teachers, experienced teachers? Let me see. In Sicily, Bergamo, oh my God, messages are coming, sorry. Okay. Bologna, Angela. All right, can you tell me, can I see where, how long have you been teaching? Is that a long time? Okay. Right, thank you. Okay. So there is a mix. It's a mixed group of young teachers and very experienced teachers, 10 years, young, 15. Oh my God, that's all. 23. Oh, It's going down so quickly. I'm sorry if I don't respond to everything because it's going down so quickly. Okay, I'm so happy to share with you with such a big group of teachers. Okay, and let me move on. So this is not our first time, so probably, you know, for those who have just joined us, my name is Caterina, and this is a new training session organized by Celtic Publishing. They playing with the stories. In today's session, we're going to talk about storytelling in the classroom. So I'm going to move on with my first slide. Okay, I hope you can hear me. All right. Here we go. Getting ready, sorry, to start. As I said before, playing with story will be our topic for today. And we're going to treat we're going to share different ideas and going to use materials from the Celtic publishing book, Happy Days, especially the story books, flip books that you can see a little bit behind me, but I'm going to get back to that later on, okay? So first, we're going to start with exploring the values of storytelling. Then we're going to share some tips and techniques for better storytelling experience in the class. I'm going to suggest some activities you might want to do with your students in the classroom. And of course, I'm going to show you teaching materials from the Happy Days course books. Now, in the previous question, you told me that so many of you have been teaching for a long time. So I suppose, that you have already used stories in your classroom. And I suppose all of us agree with the fact that they are so beneficial for the students. Okay, so I'm going to ask, I'd like you to tell me what's your opinion about storytelling in the ESL classroom. So how do you feel about it? You use stories in your lessons, all right? I suppose you use stories in your lessons, even though if you're a new teacher or an experienced one, probably you have you have tried stories in your lessons and probably you'd like to use them, but can you tell me why? What's your opinion on stories and what's the advantages of using them in the classroom? Can you please type in the chat box? Can you finish the phrase, I use stories in my lessons because I think they are? Let me know. Can I see some responses? All right. They are engaging, students learn quickly. You're right, Rafaela, that's right. Aurora said they are catching, exactly. They are so attractive to the catching or captivating. They draw the attention. They make the students focus and follow easier, okay? They are motivating, Rosa, thank you, exactly. Okay, I think the stories can be a good tool to be more aware about the topic. Exactly. I think we all share the same way of thinking. So I'm going to move on to let me go on with the next slide. So very briefly, I just put here on the slide a few things, what I believe storytelling is beneficial for the students. I'm sure we can find more and more motivating. I saw in your messages, some of you were telling motivating, captivating, things like this. And also I have added here, storytelling integrate various areas of knowledge. So through storytelling, we teach our students not only language, not only English in this case, but also other things. So through the stories, through the fictional characters of the stories, students and young children especially, they learn about the world around them. They learn about animals, about plants, about season, about many things. So it goes beyond the language itself. So it combines or it integrates various areas of knowledge. Another thing that I believe is very important is it presents opportunities to introduce new language. Of course, we have already said that, and also it helps learners to develop critical thinking through the stories. Obviously, we all know that the stories have a plot. The fictional character gets involved in some action. There is a problem, there is a solution, there is an ending, the conflict. These things make the students to develop their critical thinking. They're also including social and emotional skills. So yes, storytelling is extremely important. Storytelling is one of the oldest as well as the most effective ways of teaching. It promotes language acquisition in a natural way through comprehensive input. I have highlighted, probably you have seen on the slide, comprehensive input. That is really important. And in the next slide, we're going to look at how can we make the story more comprehensible for our students. Let's not forget that we are teaching young learners, telling them stories in a different language. So probably they will have some difficulties if they don't know everything, if they don't understand every word. So it's our job as teachers to make it more comprehensible. So what do you think? What do you think helps students to understand a story? Think about the context in the classroom. You're presenting a story to your children. How can you help them to get the meaning, to understand what happens in the story? Do you have any ideas? Do you have some ideas you might want to share in the box, in the chat box? They are magic world where children can learn. Okay. All right. So many. Yeah, Martina, that's exactly through pictures. That's for sure. Okay. The pre-telling, I think you're very well informed. Well done. You are almost expert. Okay, I really appreciate. Wow, I can see some very nice ideas in the chat. All right, pictures and gestures, can use your body, explain the meaning, dramatization, acting out. Fantastic, excellent. Starting with pictures, title, words. Okay, Cinzia, I think you read my mind. Exactly that. You're gonna. Okay, so let me move on to the next slide. And so I saw so many messages in the chat, which are exactly what I had in mind. So making stories more comprehensive. We can use visuals, we can use flashcards, puppets, realia, and flip books. Mind you, the last one, because we're going to get to that a little bit more in detail, flip books, remember that. Another way to make the stories more comprehensive are the gestures, miming, acting out, your voice. When you tell them the story, your voice can go up and down. You can act loud or you can speak, you can whisper, you can make the sounds of the wind, of the sea. So voice is a powerful tool to make the story not only comprehensible and understanding, help students to understand, but also to make a little bit fun and enjoyable. Another way is a facial expression. You can look happy, you can look sad, you can look surprised. There are so many things you can do with your facial expressions. Another way also to consolidate the meaning and to help them understand is also chants and repetition and songs, and also recycling. Recycling is a technique of asking questions to check the understanding of the students, but we're going to get to that into more detail next in the following slides. All right, so here we are. These are the flip books I was telling you about, and I do have another one here behind me. First, let's look at this. What are these? So you're looking on the screen, you can see the two pictures, the first pages of flip book from Celtic Publishing that come together in the teacher's pack from Happy Days course book of series from the Celtic Publishing. So you can see in the first one, Il flip book delle storie. This is appropriate for tre classi, prima, seconda e terza elementare of the elementary school. You can see there are stories with different thematics. So depending on the time of the year, you can use this for Halloween stories, for Christmas stories, and this one here, which is now more probably springtime. Similarly, you have also the flipbook delle storie for a little bit older students, classe 5, quarta e 5. These are adapted from famous and very popular stories like Willy Wonka, Goldilocks, Robin Hood, Dorothy, etc. Beautifully designed. Okay, so flip books are extremely helpful to make the story not only more comprehensible, but also fun, enjoyable through songs and colorful designs. Okay, I don't know if you have any questions so far. Right, I think I can continue, right? Okay, let me move on. So flip books for better storytelling, flip books for a better experience during the storytelling lesson. In this one here that I've put in the slide, you can see the first flip book, which contains 5 different stories to use with your primary students. And it is supported with audios, with songs, worksheets for follow-up activities. And I'd like to point out you have the opportunity to use the audio. So the story has a recorded audio. So you can choose either to tell it by yourself to your students, tell the story, or you can play the audio. Both are fine, although I think it's a little bit more engaging if you tell the story yourself, okay? But also the book, they offer also this option. You can play the recording and let the student listen as many times as you prefer. Also, you can find the transcript and worksheet, as I said before. Okay, so we all know some of you are really expert, really good in teaching, and you obviously know that we have different students. All of us have different styles of learning. Some of us learn better with visuals, auditory, and kinesthetic through movement and different styles. I think these kind of story books in this unusual, uncommon size are really exciting and really engaging for the students. They provide huge designs, huge pictures, very beautiful, colorful, etc., which obviously they are going to have an impact and going to make a huge impression to the students. Okay, so why is it important? I'm going to repeat very quickly. It's important to get the meaning. These huge size flip book stories, they make it easier for the student to understand the story. And if they understand, so if they get this meaning, what happens in the story, they will be able to produce language. So from receptive skills, you present, make them understand, they start speaking, they start producing language. Obviously, if they don't understand, it's not easy for them to produce language. So this step here is really important. At this moment, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I hope it works because I'm going to switch my camera. All right. I apologize for any technical. So this is our storybook. Please give me 1 second. I'm going to place it on the right. Okay. Let's make sure everybody can see that. All right. Thank you. Look at this beautiful. All right. My friend here is helping me. Okay, it's a little bit difficult to get in the camera this huge, enormous, beautiful book, right? Okay, I'm going to change a little bit my position. I apologize. It's live, so things like this might happen. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, hello again. This is our flipbook delle storie con canzoncini, for Halloween, sorry, for spring, Christmas, and Halloween. All right. Oh, I have a friend here. Do you want to see who's my friend? Can you see my friend here? Can you understand who is it? It's a little bit shy. It's a little bit shy. Come out, come out. It's Mr. Pineapple. Say hello to everybody. Okay, Mr. Pineapple is asking me if you want to look through the pages of the book. Do you want to look through the pages of the storybook? Yes. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Do you want to? Okay. All right. I think we are ready. Yes, we're going to. Yes, Christiana, we're going to do that. So, Mr. Pineapple, you can say goodbye. Let's go and look at this book. Okay. So, let me. A second. Okay, here we go. All right. So, in the first, what do you see? What's the story about? The 5 pumpkins. You don't have printed the words. You can tell the story or you can play the audio, as I said before. Okay, moving on. I'm giving you a moment to have a look. You can understand, you can compare with my size. I'm not that tall, but still this is huge book. So you can understand the size of the flip book and you can compare to a normal person. And can you imagine the excitement entering in the class with this kind of uncommon size flip books? Okay, they get excited. They want to look through the page. They want to look through the story. They want to know what happens in the story. Okay, moving on to the next. Again, we are on the same story about Halloween. Different characters, different things you can teach here, vocabulary. Something happens. I'm going to go through the pages to show you the picture and the beautiful illustration. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go through every detail, but I'm going slowly so you can have a look. The end, probably the story ends here. Okay. And we have another one, a witch and a monster. Okay. Obviously the black cats, the places. All right. All right. I forgot to tell you, have also the digital copy of the book on the Raffaello platform. So you can get the paper copy and you can also have the PDFs on the platform. As you can see, this is beautifully illustrated, colorful, big pictures. It's very convenient. It's very useful for the teacher to explain a story when you have picture and visuals in this way, right? Let me see. Do you have any questions? Do you want me to get a little bit closer? They are amazing. That's right. Yeah, they're cute. I think the same. And that was the end of this story. And we move on to another story. It's Christmas time this time. So it's time of Christmas. We have a story about a Christmas letter. Look at the beautiful visuals. And there is a lot of things you can do with this, right? You can teach, depending on the levels of your students, you can make them tell you the story, describe the picture, and play games. So this is, I'm going to go slowly so you can follow. So this is the end, but it doesn't finish here because on the other side, we have more. Okay, there is more. It doesn't finish there. Okay, another Christmas story with presents and surprises and a very scared cat. Very funny. Something funny probably happens here. Something funny. Okay. The end. Moving on to another story. Again, Christmas time. Christmas tree, people under the tree. They're laughing. We don't know exactly why. We need to read the story and understand why they are laughing. Okay. Moving on, something has changed. Okay, we have the two little guys, worried, surprised, maybe a little bit disappointed. What do you think? Some disappointment. Who knows why? Okay, so that is the end of the other story. And here we go. Spring is here. Okay. Right, here is the last story from this book. Okay. From the title, what do you believe? What do you think it is about? Obviously, it's about what's this? It's about the snowman. What happens to the snowman? He's happy here. What does it look like here? He has a friend. What's here in the story? What is he doing? Is he happy here? What happens next? What is the snowman doing here? He's playing, right? And here, is he happy? Why? What do you think is happening to the snowman? Look, he has a new friend now. Again, something is happening. And also here, something else is happening. He's getting smaller and smaller. Why? What's the reason? He has some new friends. There's a rabbit and there's a flower behind, right? But look at the poor snowman. Is it the same? No. Where is he now? What happened to the snowman? Okay, very quickly, I went through the pages of the story to show you what's there. Then obviously there is some kind of plot, something happens to the character, etc., which I skipped a little bit fast. So how can you use this in the classroom? You can present a lot of language, I think. And I'm sure you agree with me, you can present a lot of language. Can you tell me, can you type, what kind of things can you use just with this page? I'm going to give you a moment. Take a look at this page. Okay, take a look at these pictures. Things that you can see in the pictures. How can you use this in the classroom? What can you teach? Okay, these visuals, what can you teach in terms of language, from the language point of view? Can you type in the chat a few things, a few ideas, how you would use this page in your classroom? What purposes? What would you teach? Obviously, this could be a starting point to present some language. What kind of language would you present with these pictures? Right, let me see. The weather, absolutely. The season, the weather, animals, clothes, weather. What's the weather like? Yes, so many of you. It's similar to Frozen, Christina. Yes, it is. That's right. Clothes, okay. Season, colors, nature elements, absolutely right. Talk about the season, talk about animals, feelings, yes. Yes, exactly, feelings. How does he feel? He's happy? No, I don't think he's happy. But he's going to come next winter, so maybe optimistic songs. That's right. Clothes, exactly, yes. What is the snowman wearing? He's wearing a scarf, he's wearing a hat. Clothes could be a good idea. Emotions, yes. Brings out the weather vocabulary, of course. Friendship, there's another beautiful idea. Friendship, yes, of course. What's the weather like? Colors, yes, all right. Comparatives, very good idea. Comparatives with the previous pages where the snowman was bigger, now it's smaller. That's a very good starting point to present comparative forms. Also, maybe some prepositions of place. Where's the flower is behind the snowman? Where's the flower under the sun? Prepositions could be also another idea. So, okay, I think we can move on. I hope you liked it. Would you like to have a storybook like this in your classroom? What's your feeling? How do you find it? Tell me in the chat box, would you like? All right. Okay, I think we're here. Water cycle, cycle of life, body parts. Okay, there are so many messages coming, and yes, you would. Fantastic. Absolutely, yes. Okay. All right. I think we can move on. I'm going to leave it here. And another, moving on to more or less the same thing, how to help students to understand the story. We can present language using flashcards. In the next slide, we're going to look at flashcards and how we can actually, no, I'm not presenting. No, sorry. Okay. Thank you. All right. So flashcard techniques and activities. Do you use flashcards in your classroom? I guess so. Every teacher, it's one of our best tools to introduce new language. That's right. Different activities, right? You can show them the flashcards, and then you can do a couple of activities. I'm going to share with you some tips. Maybe they are not new to you, but I hope you find something interesting. The first one is what's missing. It is called what's missing. Basically what it is, you display the flashcard on the board and you teach them, you tell the student what are they, you teach a pronunciation, make them repeat a couple of times, and then you go and ask them to close their eyes. You take out one and then ask them back to open their eyes and find out what is missing. I'm going to do with you now. Okay, so we have the flower, we have the squirrel. What do we have in here? Okay, can you tell me? So obviously it's very easy for you. All right, I'm centering. I have a little bit of trouble to center. Okay, so let's suppose you're in the classroom and you have taught your students these 4 new words. So what's this? You go over again. Make sure they know the words. What's this? That's the bird. What's this? The playing snowman, the squirrel, and the flower. Now, after you teach the word, you ask them, can you please close your eyes and tell me what's missing? Do you remember what's missing? If you find it, it's all right. If you don't, that's okay. Anybody remembers what's missing? I had 4 flashcards before, and now I have 3. What is the squirrel? Yes, Teresa. Okay, that is a demonstration of what you can do with the flashcards. Okay, another one is use a piece of the slow motion activity. Okay, the slow motion is probably is easier if I just show that to you. So I have a flashcard, which I want my students to know, but I don't show them, I cover it. And little by little, slowly, slowly, I reveal only a little part. Okay, reveal only a small part. Can you imagine what's the flashcard? It's the squirrel again. I have this preference for the squirrels, probably. All right, so that was a second activity. Don't worry if I go a little bit fast or go through the slides quickly. It's a matter of time that we don't have. Another one is roll the dice. Put the numbers 1 to 6 on the board. For this activity, you're going to use only 6 flashcards. So you teach those 6 flashcards, you put a number next to them, and then ask the students to roll the dice. Depending on the number they have in the dice, the number they get, they need to say the word that corresponds, the flashcard that corresponds to that, and so on. You continue with the other flashcards. Another one is say and pass. You show them the flashcards and say the word, then you ask the student, you pass the flashcard to the student next to you, and that student should tell again, should repeat the word. This time you can play a little bit with with a voice intonation. They can whisper, they can speak loud. So change a little bit variation of voice intonation just to add a little bit fun. Okay. We all know how easy our student can get bored if you repeat the same things again. So here is a little bit of variation of different things you can do with the flashcard. And I have another one here. This is the last one, and I'm sure you have more ideas. This last one is it's named the duel. You need two students to stand up and go in the front of the class, and you put these two students back to back so they don't see each other. Each of them holds a flashcard in front, and as they are from the starting point, they are back to back in front of the class. They move on the opposite direction a few steps. When you say go, they turn around. As soon as they turn around, they see the flashcard that the other student has, and they need to say the word, the name of the flashcard, whatever word is it showing. Okay, so the first that says the right word, that student takes the point. I hope it's easy to do this. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I think we can continue to the next slide if you don't have any questions here. Let's see. Okay. In this slide, we're going to look at what we can do after telling the story, after we present the story. In the stage of a post-storytelling, we can play music and songs, and it is important to go back to the story in different ways, using different tasks and materials. It's, as I said before, it's very easy for the students to get bored, so we need to recycle the language, we need to revise the language to get back to the story using different activities. Here we have a song which is taken from our beautiful story, Spring is Here. Are you ready? Are you ready to listen to the song? Mr. Pineapple asks you, are you ready to listen to the song? Would you like to listen? Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay. What students need to do is to complete the gaps.
Sing! Little snowman, round and white. This is my nose and this is my hat. When the sun comes out, it's time to play. I say hello, hip hip hooray! Well, I'm a little snowman, round and white. This is my nose and this is my hat. There is a flower in my spot. Goodbye, sun, you are too hot. Now you sing.
Oops.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. All right, so I think you got the meaning. What we do here, we give the students the lyrics, they listen to the song and they need to complete the gaps. The songs are beautiful, the tune is very joyful, I'd say. It brings joy, it's a very happy song. And if you notice, the words are very simple, the lyrics are really simple. They have to, it's a lot of repetition, so it's very easy for them to memorize. So it says, I'm a little snowman. In the first line, I've taken out the word snowman. If you go through the lyrics, you're going to notice in the next line that it repeats, I've taken out the other words. In this way, we give the opportunity to the students to understand, to memorize, and it's very easy for them to do this kind of exercise because it's repeating one. It means this one word, another time, the next time they listen to the lyric, it's taken out the other word. So it's a repetition. Through this, we make sure our students memorizing new words. In this case, the language is very easy. I repeat, it's for students like 7 years old. So obviously for them might feel challenging. For us, it's easy. But in this way, by memorizing, by repeating, by going back to the same language, we give them the chance to get and to stick to their memory, the new words. Another post-activity, post-storytelling activity is the sequencing, okay? Put the pictures in the right order. After you have introduced the story to the students, you can give these 2 slides, which are together with a book. They come together with a book. Number the pictures. So there are different steps of the story. As I said before, we went through the plot of the story very quickly. If you read and listen, something might happen there. So you cut out the parts which are important, the key parts of the story, give them mixed up to the students. And what they need to do is put the words, put the parts of the story, the most important, the key part of the story in the right order. Okay, and maybe you want to get into more detail, ask them to write a sentence for each picture. So they are producing language, okay, so they're talking about, they're putting the sentences, they are putting the pieces of story in the right order, they are producing, they're retelling the story, and also they're writing. So it goes back to integrating skills. Okay, also we're going to look at what we can do. Another type, on the next slide, I have another, I'm planning to share another idea with you about this stage of the storytelling, the post storytelling. So let's see. Probably another thing you might want to do with, okay. Another activity you might want to do with your students is making or creating a cube, okay? So I have it here. You can give this to your student. They can cut it out, glue, make the cube, and use it as a dice. And then roll the dice, depending on what picture they have on top, they are going to talk about that fictional character or that place. For example, if you roll the dice and you land, guess where? What's my favorite? You land to the squirrel. You need to talk about the squirrel. Okay, just now this is a very funny activity, and if you want, you can continue. You can give them also a empty template where they can design, they can make their own designs. It's important to insist at this stage, it's important to encourage and insist for them to produce language, to tell you, to retell. So maybe you want to ask them to describe the story character, and to help them, you can write on the board, who is it? What do they look like? What happens in the story, or next, or before, or after? How do they feel and why? Okay, so just even though they give you very short sentences or very little, they produce very little language, it's necessary to encourage them with different questions. And maybe you want to write this question on the board. They play together, they create the dice, they play in pairs, look on the board, the question, and ask each other, what is it? What do they look like? What happens? Why are they happy? Why are they sad? And things, and similar things. Okay. All right. So there is more that you can do with storytelling post stage activity, follow-up activities. There's so much you can suggest. So I'm going to show you another idea. This time is introducing new guests in the story. Remember the story, spring is here. And somebody mentioned in the comments, it looks like Elsa and Frozen. And here we can add Elsa and Olaf, and it's fantastic. Let them be creative, let their imagination, ask them, what would you like, or how would it be if Elsa was here? So at this post-storytelling stage, you can ask your students to imagine a new fictional character that enters the story. How would the story be different? What other different ending would they have? You can say, look, Elsa is here and Olaf, what can they do? ask them what they imagine. They are very curious. They are very creative. They want to tell you what would happen if Elsa was in the story. They might want to tell you in Italian. That's all right too, but it's good to get them involved. Will they play together? Yes, why not? How about a different character? Look on the left side. Who's that character? Do you recognize him? Who's that? Yes, I got a question from Mariela, if it's possible to get the slides. Yes, in the end, you're gonna, yes. It's Potter, yes, Harry Potter. So what you want to do here, you can ask, or you might want to ask them, what would Harry do this, in this case? Can he do some magic and save the snowman? Probably the answer is yes, because Harry is as a powerful, instead of fighting with Voldemort, maybe he can save our snowman. Why not? What about this character? Who's that? Do you recognize that? That's, who is the other character? Okay, that's Wednesday Addams. And do you think she can be friends with Elsa, with Snowman, with a squirrel? What do you think? What would happen in the story if Wednesday Addams was part of it, was one of the characters? Okay, now at this point, yeah, it's Wednesday. So many of you are writing. That's right. Okay, so this is another idea. I hope you like it. I hope you do actually use it in the classroom, because it creates a lot of excitement in the class, because after you suggest a couple of famous characters like Elsa, Harry Potter, and Wednesday, after this, they're going to come up with other ideas. They're going to come up with all sorts of famous cartoons. So it's going to be a very exciting moment in the class. And when they struggle to give you the ideas what would happen in the story if Wednesday was there, they struggle with the language. There you can, there is where you got their attention, and you can teach them how to say certain things, simple things in English. And this is what we evaluate and we appreciate as teacher, because that's our goal, right? Okay. That said, we had to look at a couple of ideas of what to do in the post-storytelling stage. Now, in the next slide, I'm going to talk about a different stage of the storytelling. Are you aware, probably yes, of the different stages? We saw post-storytelling. Obviously, we have another stage, which is, can you tell me, what are the other stages of storytelling? What other stages of storytelling in the lesson do you follow? We talked about the post story. Is there another stage? Do you do other things? Yes, we have the pre-storytelling, okay? What is it? It's creating context. It's the stage in the beginning. So before actually telling the story, you want to create context, and how you can do that, showing pictures. In this case, I'm going to use the other flip book, which I have next to me. Okay. There is another flip book. The story is about Willy Wonka. We don't know anything about it. You don't know anything about it. I'm going to ask you, what do you see in the picture? Who is there? There is Mr. Bennet. It's Granny, Gerald, and Connie. Can you guess where they are? What else do you see? How many things can you name in the picture? These are simple questions you can ask to create context in the pre-storytelling. Another stage, another thing you can do in the first stage of the preparation is predicting. And how can you do that? I think I saw in the comments, you already mentioned that you can show the story picture, some parts of the picture, and ask them, can you guess what the story is about? By looking at the pictures. And maybe you want to tell them some words. For example, these are some words that appear in the story. So there's granny, there's recipe, a person from a famous book, lost property office, and another phrase, can you help me? So what do you think is the story about, just by looking at the pictures and looking at these words? Can you guess what's the story about? Maybe I can give you some more help. In the next slide is another thing you can do in the prediction step, or as you can say, context creating tips. So what do? You might want to give the students only the first line and the last line of the story. So in this case, Mr. Bennett, good morning, Connie. It's a beautiful day. That's the first line of the story. Then the last one is, Mr. Bennett, where's the rest of your cake, Granny? So that's a question. The story starts in this way, finishes in this way. What's in between? Can you guess what happens in between? Okay. Probably in this way, you're going to create some curiosity. The students will be curious to know about the story itself, and that is where you get the attention for effective storytelling. Moving on, art and craft, role play, pre-story, yeah, pre-storytelling and during story. That's right, exactly, Carla. That's exactly okay. Moving on, I'm going to move on to the next slide, which is about something I mentioned in the beginning, and it is called the circling technique. I don't know if you're aware of this technique, which students and teacher use in the classroom to teach and to repeat the new language. So it's basically the practice of asking questions. So the teacher gives a statement. Okay, so for example, something related to this picture, the statement is, the man is holding a camera on his right hand. Obviously, it should be relative to the story that you have already used in the class. So this is from Willy Wonka, as you can see. So Mr. Bennett is holding a camera on his hand. And as a teacher, you give this statement to the students. Then you ask them questions about different parts of the sentences. In this case, I've highlighted with different colors to make it easier for you to understand, and based on the question they need to repeat, so you can check their understanding, and through repetition, through asking questions, they memorize and eventually acquire the language. So let's have a look. You might want to for example, this is an example of a simple question you might ask. If you want to make sure that they understand this word, in this case, the man, you might ask, who is holding the camera? Is the granny holding the camera? Of course not. No, she isn't. The man is holding it. So we confirm through this kind of question, we make sure that they understand the word. Then you want to make sure that you want to check if they understand the verb is holding. What can you ask? You can say, is the man sitting on the camera? Is the man kicking the camera? Is the man breaking the camera? Is the man washing the camera? No, he's holding it. So again, this is a confirmation that the students get the word holding. In the same way, you can continue for every part of the sentence. For example, is a man holding a candle? No, he's not holding a candle. He's holding a camera. Okay, so this is an example of the circling technique, which is intended to provide repetition of the target vocabulary in context. Why don't we practice? Let's practice a little bit the circling technique. I'm going to show you this picture. Can you guess where is the boy? Look at the picture, take a second. Where is he? Is he at school, in a restaurant, in a park, in his home? Where is he? Can you tell me? In his bedroom, at home. Very good. Yes. All right, so here is a statement. Remember, we can start with a sentence. We give the students a sentence and we ask various questions to practice. So here is the initial statement. The boy is doing his homework in his bedroom. Can you type in the chat box, what question would you ask to consolidate the verb boy, the word boy? What can you tell them? How can you make sure they understand this? That's right. So many. Okay. That's right. Okay. So one possible question to consolidate the word boy could be, anyone? Is a girl doing her homework? That's right. Is a girl doing her homework? Is a cat doing her? Is an elephant? You can come up as many. Okay. What about the verb is doing? What can you? That's right. That's right. What about the verb? Can you tell me an example? Is the boy is sleeping in his bedroom? The boy is eating? No, he is doing homework. And so on. You can continue with each part of a sentence. Okay. Thank you again for sending so many messages. I love it. I really appreciate you responding and participating so actively. Is he using the computer? Very good. Excellent. Okay. Is he eating? Is playing? Reading his homework? Very nice. Very nice idea. Well done. Well done. Really good job. Okay. So this is more or less the circling technique. We went a little bit quickly through it. Time is, we're running short of time, run out of time. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. Okay, so we looked at the values of storytelling, and in a nutshell, these are the most important. It's a powerful and enjoyable tool for learning and communicating. The storytelling develops young learners' language as well as other skills in a natural way. Optimize the learning process of language through repetition, chants, rhyme, which are usually simple, predictable, and memorable. And another thing, which is we didn't make it sure, it's about the pronunciation. They learn the rhythm, intonation, pronunciation of the new language, and also, as some of you mentioned, they can reinforce storytelling, and stories can reinforce other subjects such as science, history, biology, etc. Okay. As one of these professors, very famous one, storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world. And this is a famous quote from Professor McKee. You had very nice comments and very well done for your participating. We guessed the steps of the storytelling. We talked about this a little bit before, storytelling during and after. Each stage is important for different reasons. Each stage has different aims and different types of activities. Before storytelling, it's necessary to create context and curiosity. During storytelling, it's when you introduce yourself, you introduce the story itself to the student, you introduce the language, you engage the learners. And after storytelling, which in my opinion is the most important thing, when you go back to the story, review the language to understand your practice, then they develop, it's there that they develop their language skill, they produce their fluency, they tell the story again. Okay, so when I was preparing these slides, I tried to put up to collect a few tips, and here are my tips for effective storytelling lesson. Before storytelling itself, before the lesson, you want to read the story out loud in advance before the lesson happens. This will help you to transmit the emotions when you tell the story itself in the classroom. Okay, you can practice different voices, different gestures, facial expression, as well as pauses. You need the pauses to create a little bit of suspense during the story to make it more interesting and engaging. Then also, this next tip is about identifying the key language in the story. You want to think about the story you're presenting in the classroom. Where is some area that it might be difficult for the children, so you need to pre-teach, and there where you use a flashcards to pre-teach the vocabulary that might be new to your students. And lastly, but not least important, is use the flip books and flashcards and realia to show them, to make clear to support the meaning, help them understand more easily what happens in the story. So this is what I have prepared for today. I hope you found something interesting. On the next. Sorry, okay. All right, so this is what you can find in the course book of Happy Days from Celtic Publishing. There are 5 levels for each class of the primary school. You can find the flip books in the teacher's pack, the student book with integrated workbook section, and there is a lot of support for the teachers, starting from teacher's guide for other books, booklets, extra materials to consolidate grammar, to teach citizenship, to also to practice invalsi for the students of Quinta Elementare, that you get them ready to go to the Scuola Media. Easy invalsi is included. So there's a wide variety of different teaching materials you can find in this course book. If you have any questions, I'm sorry, oops, something, okay. Right, I think we're at the end of our presentation today. Let me look, thank you so much for your nice word. After reading, okay, I got a question from Anna. I have, it's useful or correct to translate in Italian the meaning after reading, to translate the full story in Italian. I think it's a little bit, it probably makes the students to, they kind of expect your Italian translation at the end of the story, so they're not going to pay attention beforehand when you talk to them in English if they get used to this technique. So you tell the story in English, then translate in Italian, they're going to get used, then won't pay attention to the English version. So I would say only if it's necessary. You can translate in Italian. It's not forbidden. It's not a bad thing, but only if it's necessary. So if you have tried different ways to make them understand, if you have tried in different ways to get the meaning, to help them understand what happens in the story through flashcard, through repetition, through question, through recycling technique, and if this didn't work, so for some reason students didn't get the meaning, yes, in that case, obviously you need to translate in Italian. But before that, make sure you go through all the steps, okay? And maybe you want to translate in Italian only some part, not everything, okay? So we need a little bit to push them to use their cognitive skills. So I wouldn't say it is incorrect to translate in Italian, but I'd say first try to explain everything in English, use flashcards, use tutorial, and if it's difficult for some reason, then yes, you can translate some part of the story into Italian. Or maybe you can use a strong, sometimes I do this, usually in the class we have 20, 25 students, some of them might be stronger, some who has understood the story, I might ask that student to tell to the peer, to the other students in Italian. I wouldn't use Italian, not because I don't like it, but it's better not to offer this easy solution to the story, to the students, okay? Okay, thank you for participating. I'm happy you like the book. I'm really happy, and thank you so much. Okay, so this is all for today. I hope to see you. I hope you can participate in the next webinar, which is extremely interesting, and I guarantee, because I'm already using, it's the next webinar is about the You and Me Friend book. They're a lot more than just letter, with this project of sending letters to each other. I've been using it. I can guarantee that students are really excited. So don't miss the next webinar. It's a lot more than just letters. 31st of March, next, I think it's next Friday from 5 to 6. Teacher trainer, the wonderful Mariana Laxage, and that's it from me today. See you next time. Alla prossima. Ciao, ciao.